Happy Wednesday. If you guys didn't already know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And many of you have heard me talk and talk and talk about the importance of mental health. And a lot of you, or some of you, know my story. So I thought today, instead of sharing advice on fitness and supplements and weight loss, I would share with you just a little bit about my mental health struggle. I was adopted when I was 6 weeks old. My birth mother was 13 when she had me. I got to spend roughly 2 days with her, bonding with her, and then she was removed from my life. And then I waited on foster care. I went to a foster care home for 6 weeks and bonded with them over that 6 weeks. And they were wonderful. And then I was placed in my forever home, which was also wonderful. However, by that point, I had been displaced. This was my third time. And if you are unfamiliar with the primal wound, it's basically where, as an infant or someone that's dealt with adoption in a similar situation like this, it's where the child learns automatically that being attached to somebody automatically makes you unlovable, unwanted, and rejected. And then it causes this fear of abandonment and fear of rejection. And so I spent 40 plus years of my life dealing with that. And how I dealt with that was through people pleasing, codependency, food. Food became my answer for everything. Whether I was sad, I was happy, I was hungry, I wasn't hungry, I was bored. It really didn't matter. Food was my comfort. And I did go to therapy. My parents put me in therapy as a child, but we all know you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And so I was unaware of what all was going on. I wasn't willing to accept what was going on. And so, needless to say, I didn't utilize the help that I had. I've had numerous times where I have thought of not being here anymore. And as an adult, definitely the fear of rejection, weight became a way to, one, it was from the food, from the comfort, but it was a way to hide myself, a way to not always have to put myself out there and get disappointed. It's almost like I hid behind weight. And that's one thing that I've learned over the years. I had gastric bypass surgery. Again, it's probably for the wrong reasons. I said it was for the right reasons, but going into it, had it been for the right reasons, I probably would have done the mental work that should have been done, but I didn't. And so a couple years into it, I'd lost 110 pounds, and I actually had a miscarriage. And I was unaware that I was pregnant. That can happen after having gastric bypass. And but I knew exactly what was happening when it happened. And it literally took all of those things that I've been building up throughout 40 years of my life, or at that point it was 37-ish years of my life, and everything came crashing down at one time. I was diagnosed as severely clinically depressed anxiety. I was having panic attacks every night to the point where I couldn't sit down, I couldn't walk around, like my heart was racing out of my chest. I can't even, if you've had one before, you understand. If you haven't, it is very unpleasant. I didn't sleep a lot. Just everything felt like it was crashing down. And then I got pregnant again with Rachel. Had Rachel, it was a horrific birth. I hemorrhaged and basically was told, please don't die. They said I should have family there to make decisions for me because I was going to need it. I had no one there at the time, unfortunately. I had no one that came back to see me for most of the day, which gave me PTSD. I still deal with PTSD. In fact, I had to have surgery again a couple years ago, and I was hysterical when I went in. I signed papers in case I hemorrhaged to have a blood transfusion this time. And it did happen again, but I was literally hysterical. The nurse was like, I feel so bad for you. I told her what had happened. She's like, no wonder you have PTSD. And so needless to say, all these things. But what kind of was my tipping point after the miscarriage and just kind of going downhill, I'd never had a problem with alcohol my entire life. Never. And with gastric bypass, unfortunately, you can have transferred addictions. And so I couldn't eat my feelings anymore. And because I did not deal with those feelings, I actually started drinking. And it was a very quick and easy way to escape from everything that was going on. Just it felt like everything was coming down around me. And so I drank. And it grew pretty quickly. It didn't last for long. Thankfully, I made some stupid mistakes enough that I had a family member. I honestly am not really sure what happened between us, but let's just say I got knocked out and realized that I was either going to hurt myself to the point of not coming back, or I was going to have to face myself and do the work. So I went to Celebrate Recovery, and I spent the next 2-ish years really, truly working the program and learning all the things that I'd always questioned as to why do I act like this? Why do I feel like this? Why do things happen like this? And luckily, Celebrate, for those who don't know, Celebrate Recovery is an amazing program. It is a faith-based program, but it is anything from A to Z: anxiety, depression, PTSD, alcohol, drugs, codependency, people-pleasing, self-esteem, any of those things. And to be honest, y'all, anyone could use Celebrate Recovery. It has transformed my life. Now, am I still a work in progress? Absolutely. You can't take, at this point, I'm 44, you can't take 43 or 41 years of hurt, hangups, habits, and just say they're gone. Now, I've been alcohol free, I've been food addiction free for 3.5 years now. And I have finally released myself of so many of those burdens. In fact, 6 weeks into my intense program that I was doing, a 12-step study, I lost 30 pounds like that. And I think a lot of that was because as I let go and learned about the baggage that I had, as I let it go, then the weight just started to fall off on its own. Now, I've done a lot of work since then to continue to lose my weight. I definitely feel I am no longer a people pleaser. I am no longer codependent. And in regards to that, I now have to figure out what it is in life I want, what it is that I even enjoy, which sounds crazy. But for those of you that have been through depression and hid under everyone else, you understand that. And so this has been a whole new year for me because I've really gotten serious about learning about myself now that I've healed a lot of that. And so it's been a journey, and trying to understand myself and understand, you've done this for everyone else. Now it's time to do things for you. And it has changed me. I am a different person, and there are some relationships that have suffered because of that, but I feel like I'm a better person. I am self-aware. I hold myself accountable. I don't put up with a lot now. I have allowed people to say things and do things to me that I now would never, ever let happen. And a lot of that comes from that inner strength, the self-esteem stuff. And I'm still working on my self-esteem. Y'all, I had none. I mean, absolutely none. So if you've ever dealt with that, I would be out in public and just cry, because I would sit there and compare myself to every other woman out there and wonder why I wasn't good enough, why I wasn't pretty enough, why I wasn't small enough. Just constant. And so this past year, a lot of the strength training, honestly, has been more for strength training on the inside and building my self-esteem than it truly has been on the outside. The outside has been a bonus. And it's a whole nother learning curve to finally feel good on the inside and feel good on the outside. And so I'm learning how to navigate that, and I'm learning how to deal with depression. I did have to go back on antidepressants for a little while, but thankfully, with the gym and nutrition, I have been able to come off of them again. And I never thought I would. I was in the highest dose possible of anxiety and antidepressants, and now I take nothing other than good, nutritious food and gym. And strength training really has become my antidepressant. And it's an amazing feeling to not have to take that, because when you feel like you have to take medicine just to function every day, all day, it stinks. And it's hard. So I've been able to overcome all of that. I'm learning still, about myself at this point. Um, some relationships I hope repair themselves. Some may not. And at this point, I'm okay with that. I just have had to get to the point that I have to put myself first for the first time, which feels selfish to me, but it's made me a better friend. It's made me a better mom. It's made me a better daughter. Um, I just feel like I'm just a better person all around. And so I encourage you, if you're dealing with depression, if you're dealing with being overweight because of depression, if you deal with anxiety, if you deal with panic attacks, first and foremost, please reach out to someone, especially a medical professional that can help you. Second of all, celebrate recovery. Y'all have heard me say that so many times. Celebrate recovery is amazing. And it will truly help you dig down and find out what those core issues are and help you to untangle all of those and let all of those go. And I now find, excuse me, in every situation, even if it's negative, even if it's hurtful, there's a lesson behind that. Why did I react that way? Why do I feel this way? What could I have done differently? And then you've got to find a positive twist on it. And to me, that's been a huge life-changing alter thought process that I've chosen to do. And it's really made a huge difference in the way that I think, the way that I act. I still get hung up on emotions. Don't get me wrong. For those of you that know me, I happen to be slightly dramatic. I've overcome a lot of that. And I'm still working on that because that is still something that I don't like about myself. But it's a learning experience, something to learn about. And the good thing is, out of all of this, being able to do all of this on my own and figure this all out is that I know it's possible. Whereas before, I thought the only way out was out of the world for good. And I'm no longer in that place. And I now have this undenying passion to want to help other women who are struggling in the same way. Probably most of us for all different reasons, but we all have that same core issues. And I would love now to be able to help other women understand themselves, overcome everything, and be able to sit there and really enjoy and love the life that they live. And so, like I said, if you deal with depression, if you deal with anxiety, there is hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way out, but you've got to ask for help. And I encourage you to do that. If you want to reach out to me, if you reach out to a medical professional, whatever you need to do, I truly encourage you. I never thought I would be off antidepressants. I never thought that I would be happy with myself. I never thought I would feel good about the way that I look, the way that I am, but it's possible. And it changes your whole outlook on life. So Mental Health Month is May. Make it the beginning of your successful journey into recovery from depression, anxiety, panic attacks, whatever else that it is that you're dealing with. Because if I can do it, you can do it.